Hello, everyone. I'm so pleased to be joining you from Cambridge, connecting with Liaoning School of Economics and celebrating the Economic Innovation and Entrepreneurial Forum conferences. And I'm also here to tell you a story about how an economics student from Shenyang became a Cambridge scholar, founded a School of Economics, and changed the world. And we can talk about how the Liaoning-Cambridge relationship still flourishes. Telling my story today, I'm sitting in a spot close to Trinity College, Cambridge, which has played an important part in the history of Liaoning University and the School of Economics. It was founded in 1347, a long time ago. And this is the great court at Trinity. And we'll see more of the college as the story unfolds. But we're celebrating a great man, an economist who helped shape China's future, a scholar and a leader, one of the first in the new post-war era, the founding father of Liaoning University School of Economics. And here he is, a special hero of Liaoning, Professor Soong Hsia, founder of the School of Economics. Born 105 years ago, celebrated at his college, Trinity, Cambridge, in October in 2017. A great influence on China's economic policy. And of course, we're celebrating the Cambridge-Liaoning connection. Here's a picture of the young academic, Dr. Soong, even maybe before he was a doctor. In 1942, he published Vision and Approach to Economic Construction while doing his master's degree. He was doing economic research at the Institute in Nankai University, and he wrote a thesis on the sources of international trade gains and their measurement. His academic brilliance won him a place for 3 years at Cambridge University, supported by the British Council. And his PhD thesis there was cyclical fluctuations in the British export trade for certain years. Now here is the Great Gate at Trinity. What a wonderful picture. And Professor Soong would have passed through this gate on many days, just as it looks there. Trinity, of course, is very famous for other scholars who changed the world. Here's one of them. The theory of gravity, Principia Mathematica, a great astronomer and mathematician, a life of scientific discovery at Trinity many years before Dr. Soong went there. And of course, I'm speaking about Isaac Newton, the president of the Royal Society in the 18th century. And you will all remember, of course, the story of the apple tree and how the apple fell on his head and gave him the theory of gravity. Here's another very, very interesting man who was at Trinity, Professor Piero Sraffa. He was a fellow when Dr. Soong went there to get his doctorate. And he was very, very famous as an economist who connected Keynesian economics with Marxist theory. And he wrote lots of papers, one of which was the production of commodities by means of commodities. He was very, very influential and won many, many prizes. And he was Soong's supervisor. Here is another great economist, of course. This is John Maynard Keynes. Sraffa was an influence, of course, for Soong, but so was Keynes. He was down the road at King's College, but closely connected with Trinity too. And Keynesian economics, of course, changed the world. And this was another great influence for the student Soong while he was in Cambridge. And yet another wonderful economist and teacher. This is Professor Joan Robinson, probably one of the most famous women economists in the history of the country, not only Cambridge. And she was a fellow of Newnham, Girton and King's colleges, did a lot of work with Piero Sraffa. Very interesting that her two daughters won Nobel Prizes. And she wrote The Economics of Perfect Competition, a very great influence on PhD PhD student, Soong Hsia, and a very great teacher. A picture of her here as a younger lady, and see what she wrote. The purpose of studying economics is not to acquire a set of ready-made answers to economic questions, but to learn how to avoid being deceived by economists. She was the first person to use the word monopsony, and she invented the word actually to describe a situation where the employer pays workers less than their marginal productivity. She was very, very, very influential, a philosopher as well as an economist. And look at what she also wrote. When it is forbidden to admit error, there can be no progress. We know that she visited China several times. She did lots of research, and one of her publications was Economic Management in China, which she did in 1975. Did she visit Shenyang? We don't know. We don't know, I'm afraid. So, after doing his PhD successfully in 1948, Dr. Soong, PhD, now came back to China. And he was the committee chairman of the Economic Research Institute and dean of Liaoning University School of Economics and Management, which he helped to found. He was also president of the Association of Foreign Economic History, vice president of China's Foreign Economic Theory Research Association. And remember, this was a very, very challenging time for China and its economy just before 1949. So he was a major contributor to the evolving national economic policy and strategy at a very important time, and a time from which China has grown, as we know, to great economic performance. And here is a very wonderful picture. Professor Soong with his teacher and beloved mentor, Piero Schrafer, in China. It took a long time to get this meeting organized, and it was, I understand, an emotional and longed-for reunion after many years when Dr. Soong was working for his country and the next generation, which he did all his life. Now, we're coming closer to the present, because on October the 21st, 2017, now there, that's actually almost exactly a birthday of this visit, it was my great honor and privilege to welcome a delegation from Liaoning University led by Professor Lin Muxi, and they came to Trinity, and we entered one morning, the 21st of October, by this great gate. This is the other side of it. And there we came into what you saw earlier, and this is an even better picture of the great court at Trinity College, unchanged since Professor Soong walked here and spent his days. Just look at that picture for a few moments more, because it is a wonderful sight, isn't it? And hopefully those of you that haven't seen it real in the flesh may have the chance to visit. And while we were in the college, we were very well received and honored by the master of Trinity, Professor Sir Gregory Winter. He since then has won a Nobel Prize. He's a medical person. And here we are having coffee, remembering Professor Soong in the wonderful Master's Lodge at Trinity. And we were discussing 4 generations of Professor Soong's students, because Professor Lin was a student of Professor Soong. Professor Wim-In Lee was a student of Professor Lin. And then from Wim-In Lee, we had a student present with us, a lady student. So we had 4 generations of students, all starting off with the great founder of your university in Liaoning. Here we are with one of the team admiring the statue of Isaac Newton. And we then went and looked at the wonderful Wren Library, a unique collection of books. The architect of this astonishing building was Sir Christopher Wren, who also was the architect of St. Paul's Cathedral and other great buildings, St. Paul's Cathedral in London. And of course, inside it is a fantastic library. And this would be where the PhD student Soong Hsia will have spent many hours at his studies. And the Wren Library, I'm pleased to say, will work with Liaoning University scholars on future research. They have 8,000 books from Piero Straffa's collection there. So there's a lot of interesting future work to do between Liaoning and Cambridge. And of course, this is a wonderful picture. In normal times, before the pandemic, of a dining hall. There is one very similar at Trinity College. And so much has not changed since Dr. Soong dined at Trinity in the Great Hall. He would have been at many events such as you see here. Now, from the Cambridge City site of Trinity College, Professor Lin and the faculty delegation and me, we went out to a science park, a very famous science park, again connected with Trinity, because Trinity College was the first place in Europe, not only the UK, to have a science park. Europe's first science park in 1970. This is an aerial view of how it looks today. And we went to the Bradfield Centre, a very new building at the time of our visit at Trinity Science Park. It's a state-of-the-art innovation centre named after the founder of Trinity Science Park, Professor Sir John Bradfield. Lots of places for entrepreneurs where they can meet with investors. Many new businesses are getting started there. It was opened in July 2017. It's very, very full now. And in fact, Tsinghua University have invested 200 million in new buildings, newer than this one, on the science park, which I can talk about on another day, and perhaps other speakers will discuss at your conference. There are now 25 science parks and innovation centres in Greater Cambridge, and they have been an inspiration to some of the wonderful science parks that you have in China, including in your province. And from the Trinity Science Park, we cross the street to another innovation centre, which is run by St. John's College, another great college. And here we are standing outside the St. John's Innovation Centre. We had a tour, we had lunch there. We met the managing director, David Gill, who is going to be another speaker at your conference and a great friend of all of us. And of course, Professor Wei-Min Lee and I are involved, as I'll mention later, in a company that resides in the St. John's Innovation Centre, China Future Creative Class. So, working all the time, we were there to develop Cambridge connections for Liaoning University. So, that's part of the story. I just wanted to mention towards the end that Liaoning University also has a wonderful campus, as you know. I show people pictures of it here in the UK. And it upholds the standards set by its founder, Dr. Soong, very high academic standards. Two great cities then, Shenyang and Cambridge, joined together in the spirit of excellence in economics, innovation, and entrepreneurship through the EIE Forum. Wonderful. And here's just a few pictures of some of us both working and relaxing, teachers and students at Hughes Hall College, another great college in Cambridge. And you know some of the faces, I'm not going to mention the names, but there's me in the classroom with a very wonderful delegation of students who came. And you know, the pandemic has upset us all very much. And I really can't wait for the time when Professor Wei-Min Lee will be bringing more students to Cambridge and I can meet them and work with them. Very proud I am of all our wonderful students, and including my grandson, Henry. There's a picture of him here with your dear professor from Liaoning. He was at Liaoning University in 2018, which was very interesting for him, and he did great work, and he had made many friends, one of whom completed his master's at UCL only a few months ago, and who I met during the last Christmas holiday. So we've got lots of bonds and friendships between us. It's been a great privilege for me to be here today with you, but also to have been appointed visiting professor at Liaoning University School of Economics. It binds me to the history of the school. And since I'm in Cambridge and close to Trinity College, I feel a very special connection. And this drawing was done by a student who has connections with Liaoning. and I like it very much indeed. And just a reminder, the China Future Creative Class, CFCC, which would not be here today if it were not for Liaoning University. It's enabling the development of creative youth, founded in Shenyang, connected with Cambridge, I'm pleased to say. And I'm sure this great man, Professor Soong, would approve of it very much because he was a great member of the creative class of his day. He made his mark on Cambridge and Trinity College, as well as on China and its economic development. So please share the pride of Liaoning and Shenyang in celebrating the life and work of Professor Soong. You know, the story has been written in much more detail than I've told it by Professor Win-Min Lee, exploring and pursuing footprints in Cambridge of the Grand Master, Professor Soong Hsia. So, by building bridges, just my concluding comment, by building bridges between continents, universities, and people, we can all play a part in creating a world of peoples closer together. And through cultural exchanges, to understand each other, we can better enjoy mutual respect and wonderful lives. So thank you very much for listening, and I hope the whole of your conference goes very well indeed. And maybe sometime in the near future, who knows, I might be able to visit your wonderful university and your wonderful province and city again. Thank you. Goodbye for now.